What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 195. And we start today's episode off with some player training, closing in on 200 episodes, but still kicking episodes off with player training. We'll do that until the end of the series, I think. And also confirmation there that Reece James has just bruised his shoulder and is going to be out for 5 days after suffering a knock in our last game. And to start today's episode off as well, I looked at my transfer budget, £70 million now remaining after the financial takeover in the last episode. The ex-pros combined with some local businesses and the financial investors pumping £50 million into our transfer budget, plus the Luke Shaw sale to Villarreal of 23 million, I think it was, around £70 million in our budget right now. And I decided to splash the cash on a new fullback due to both Reece James and Reggie Cannon, our starting right backs, being injured. And I really wanted to bring back Serge Koulibaly to Bramall Lane. I know you guys want to see this signing as well, but as we know, Real Madrid have had a bid accepted for the Ivorian left back, now 88 rated at just 22 years old. I asked Roy Hodgson to negotiate with me after giving him a valuation bid of 66.5 mil, and the senior citizen just stormed out of the restaurant. He was furious with that valuation bid there, and I was thinking at least negotiate with me, but clearly he didn't want to. He'd already accepted a bid from Real Madrid, and we don't know what the bid is. We did see that the original offer was £83 million, but yeah, he wouldn't even negotiate with us, so it means that the Real Madrid offer must be absolutely massive, probably over £100 million. Therefore, Roy said, don't waste my time, mate, seriously. He walks out, and Koulibaly is on his way to the Bernabeu. He's probably in Madrid right now, Serge, anyway, signing papers. So, yeah, Koulibaly's going to go to Spain. We won't be getting him this season, just out of our price range, unfortunately, just like Ollie Shaw as well. However, there was one other fullback on our shortlist right now who we were able to get hold of, and that was the superstar right back we had in our 4 years at Bramall Lane. You know the name, it's Jaidyn Bogle, who's now moved on to Liverpool in this save. He's 27 years old, but 90 rated. He's one of the best fullbacks in world football right now, and we agreed a deal with the Reds of £65 million plus a 10% sell-on clause, and Reggie Cannon as well. Liverpool accepted the offer. Jurgen Klopp said, you can take him for that fee. And of course, when we sat Jaidyn down, I said, Bogle, it's time to come back to where you loved at Bramall Lane. I know you've loved filling in for Trent Alexander-Arnold at Liverpool and Anfield, but come on, mate, those Reds fans won't love you as much as you were loved here at Bramall Lane. So we gave him a wage increase, 150 grand a week, 5-year deal, and Jaidyn Bogle, welcome home. He's back here at Bramall Lane. So buzzing with the signing as well. As we know, Reggie Cannon is out for another month and a half with is it a broken toe he's got? Or I think he had, but he's gone to Liverpool regardless. They'll nurse him back to full health at Anfield. But he goes to the Reds. We signed Jaidyn Bogle, and I'm absolutely delighted about this sign as well, because we saw how good Bogle was for us in our first 4 years with Sheffield United. And we've got to remember as well, in the system we play, the 4-1-2-1-2 diamond narrow system, the fullbacks are so important in this team because there's no wide midfielder or winger. We need players that are good at the back, but also fantastic when going forward. We've used Bogle before. We know how good he is on both the defensive end and on the offensive end. Bogle comes in, and I'm so happy because, Reece James is here, and James has started off well for us since we've arrived here. However, I actually plan to use Reece James in the holding midfield role. Now, that is his secondary position, and you look at his stats here. He's 2 ratings higher than Locatelli, whilst also being 2 years younger as well. He's just as good when passing the ball. He's just as good defensively. He's a more physical player, and he's better dribbling the ball as well. So I think Reece James personally should have a position change here, not lose his starting place in the first 11 to Jaidyn Bogle, but instead play in the centre of midfield as our holding mid in our quad right now. If you remember, with Jamal Lewis way back in the day, we did that with a Northern Irish fullback. We converted him to play central midfield. That's what I'm going to do with Reece James. Not have him sitting on the bench now that Bogle's in, but instead changing his position and operating him as a defensive midfielder as part of our midfield quad. So yeah, Bogle signs, and again, absolutely buzzing. The sell-on clause is redundant because we're not going to sell him now that he's come back here to Bramall Lane. 65 mil plus Reggie Cannon, who had that 2-month injury regardless. I am so happy with that signing right there. Welcome home, Jaidyn. Welcome home. But still, first of 2 games in today's episode, and what a game for Jaidyn Bogle to be making his second debut in. He would take on his former club, Liverpool, in the Carabao Cup semi-final second leg here at Bramall Lane. Of course, we won the first leg away at Anfield by a 0-0, courtesy of one of the goals of the series. Brett Wilson scoring that screamer from the bench as we left Anfield with the first leg victory. That meant heading into this game, keep a clean sheet here tonight, and we'll be going to Wembley for the first time since season 4, and we'd have our first Carabao Cup final of this series as well. So right from kickoff, I wanted to get Bogle some early touches, and as he stormed down the right and took it round Curtis Zouma, he cut in from the flank, rolled it across, and can you believe it? Right from kickoff, Sheffield United 1, Liverpool 0, and what did I just say a moment ago? This is why the fullbacks are so important in this club, and this is why our fullbacks need to be world class. They are secondary wingers in this team, as there's no wide midfielder or winger naturally in our system. They're always going to get forward and get the assist from time to time as well. What a run from Jaidyn Bogle as he helps us get the first goal with a wonderful solo run down the right. Lovely ball across the middle, and Brandon Lewis gets his second goal in 2 games, puts the Blades in front here at Bramall Lane right from kickoff. Extraordinary start for Jaidyn Bogle and Sheffield United as well. So Liverpool's task now had become doubly hard. Doubly hard? It was more difficult as we were leading by 1. They had to score 1 goal into this game tonight regardless. Now they needed to score 2 goals. And to be fair to Liverpool as well, they actually had a really good first half. Lots of chances, but our defence was really, really solid. Our back line was barely breached. Curtis Zouma firing that shot there just wide of the post as we still led by a goal. And whilst we've made 2 new signings to our back 4 as well, in Nicholas Wilson and Jaidyn Bogle, they were both playing really well, as were the other members of our defensive unit, as we were still leading by a goal. The Reds, as we know, got one of the most deadliest attacks in Europe, but in this game, they just simply couldn't break our down. Our defence was standing strong, and after a good tackle by Wilson here, 10 minutes after the restart, golden chance to double our lead. Once again, it's Bogle getting in on the action here, storming down the right, rolling it across, but Kieran Brady's shot was well blocked and turned behind for a corner. So still Sheffield United 1, Liverpool 0, and in the second half the Reds simply could not break us down. Our back 4 in this game was absolutely sensational, but one chance fell to them in stoppage time to grab a late goal here and possibly get a heroic fight back going in stoppage time. And I've got to show 2 replays of this goal as well. One lapse of concentration with me with Bogle, went too far backwards, that played Guendouzi onside, and my word, I mean, you know, we've seen since the AI have increased their difficulty on Ultimate so much harder. There's been some nice goals scored. That's got to be a contender for goal. The series by the AI. Guendouzi with the back heel goal makes it 1-1 on the night. However, there wasn't enough time for the Reds to find a second goal and force extra time. We make it through, and that is that. We're into Wembley after a 1-1 draw on the night, 2-1 over 2 legs, and Sheffield United are heading to their first EFL Cup final of this series. Delighted with that, and I've got to say as well, the reason we got this win tonight, or the win over 2 legs and the draw tonight, is because our back 4 was superb. Nicholas Wilson put in a great shift. Jaidyn Bogle on his second debut for us was man of the match. He was superb, got the assist for our goal, and really good at the back as well. And whilst, as you guys know, ordinarily I don't really care about the EFL Cup at all, it's our first EFL Cup final of the series, and I'm going to aim to win it as well. I know it doesn't count as a board expectation or objective, but I want that piece of silverware in the cabinet, and hopefully we'll be able to do that, because of course we haven't won a domestic honour with Sheffield United in the save yet. Well, now we've got a really good chance as we'll be taking on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's Manchester United at the end of next month in our first ever EFL Cup final. It's sandwiched in between a game against KRC Genk in the round of 32 in the Europa League and Liverpool away at Anfield in the Premier League as well, but I'm targeting that silverware. I want it in the cabinet. The board don't care, but I do. I want it. I want my first domestic honour with Sheffield United to come this season. Still, for our second and final game of today's episode, we will now take on Brentford away from home at Griffin Park, who right now are threatened by relegation. But before that, we did see exactly why Roy Hodgson stormed out of the restaurant when we met him to discuss a possible transfer for Serge Koulibaly. He's agreed terms with Real Madrid, and the fee for the Ivorian was £111.5 million. It all makes sense now. Sorry, Roy. I do apologise for wasting your time. I didn't realise how big that transfer fee was. That explains exactly why he didn't even want to talk to me and why he blocked me on WhatsApp after that chat there. Yeah, no doubt about it. Serge Koulibaly goes for a monstrous fee to Real Madrid, and hopefully we'll be able to get him back at Bramwell Lane one day. Touchwood, maybe next season or possibly a season after, we'll be able to have him here at Sheffield United, but for that kind of fee, we might need another financial takeover in order to get him. But yeah, second and final game of today's episode. Now taking on the Bees away at Griffin Park right now, saying 18th place and desperate to keep football here at Griffin Park, Premier League football at Griffin Park next season. Right now, they're threatened by relegation and we are going for the top 4. So both teams desperate for wins with just 14 games to go in the Premier League, but for different reasons. And Brentford would take the lead very early on in the game as well. And I must say, despite a fantastic second debut from Bogle in the week against Liverpool, he was a little bit weak in the challenge there, trying to make the tackle, didn't really throw his weight into the challenge, and Brentford regained, kept hold possession, rolled it inside, and a nice finish by the youth player into the near post there, as Brentford took a shock lead here at Griffin Park. So trailing by a goal, the hosts have the early lead, but right from kickoff we storm forward, look to get back on level terms, and Chopper Harris, that was glorious there from Neil's nephew, as he tells the fans to calm down and runs to the visiting section as we get back on level terms instantaneously after a lovely through ball by the Shocker as well. Lovely little 1-2, and these two already have got really good chemistry. You know, you've got Tony there, who's been a star throughout the series, and perhaps his protege in Harris as well. These two are linking up so nicely already so early on since we've returned, and it's really nice to see. Lovely goal there, Brentford 1, Sheffield United 1, but this was a really frustrating game as well. I just could not create chances here against the hosts. They absolutely dominated possession in this game. I had such a high pass accuracy, and in the second half my frustration was beginning to show and I was getting really angry. Kept on flying into challenges, giving away silly fouls. I just couldn't get a rhythm going in this game. Brentford were frustrating the hell out of me, and in the end, they did what they needed to do. They did frustrate me, they did stop me, and they stopped us from getting any clear-cut chances in the second half. Final score in a very uneventful game. Brentford 1, Sheffield United 1. They got their tactics spot on, they got what they needed. A very credible point against an in-form side, and that could prove to be crucial come the end of the season, and might well help them stay up. But for us, a massive missed opportunity. Had we won that game, we would have leapfrogged the Hornets and gone into 4th. Instead, after they drew with Brighton, we remain outside the top 4 on goal difference, but it is so tight right now. 4th to 8th, only 7 points separate those sides with just 13 games to go. It's anyone's guess who's going to get that 4th and final Champions League spot. But that was today's episode of Career Mode, guys. So big thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed it, if you did enjoy today's episode, then please drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode very soon.